Are you ready to take your business to the next level and make the money you want so that you can create the impact you desire? Then you're in the right place. It's possible to run a successful business built around your life. Get ready for a little bit of tough love and a whole lot of strategy to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. If you're ready to get out of your own way and step into the role of CEO, then let's go. I'm Amy Traw, and this is the Motivated CEO Podcast. There is a secret to increasing your sales that nobody talks about. What is it? It is customer experience, my friend. And in today's episode, I am joined by Kassie O'Driscoll. She is an OBM, online business manager, that is here to help us demystify this whole client experience, onboarding, offboarding, how we can really make it the best experience to attract those retentions, to get those referrals, and to grow our business without the heavy lifting and just draining effort that comes along with social media. So, Kassie, I am super excited to have you here today. I would love to know, what are we doing wrong 99% of the time that we're not giving our clients the best experience?
That's a great question. And also thank you for having me. I'm super excited to talk about this. This is my bread and butter.
Yes.
So I think that what we're doing wrong is that we get so bogged down in our daily tasks and like how we can relieve things from ourselves that we don't think about how it feels to be on the other side of that table because it is virtual. So, a lot of these client experience and automations that you can do and put in place, you're not thinking like all the way to the end of that sentence. Like you're really just cutting yourself short to relieve the pressure off yourself because we have, as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we are the CMO, we are the CFO, we are, we're all of these things. And we just need to like plug the holes and we're like, okay, if I can just automate this, I'll be good to go. But now it starts feeling robotic. Now it starts feeling inauthentic. And if you can approach your automations and your workflows and your back end business to consider what it's like on the other side of that, you'll see a lot more retention. You'll see people. My favorite thing is when clients tell me, oh, like I hadn't even talked to this client and they reached out to me as if we had been talking for weeks. And because you just all the way down to like your canned emails and how you're writing them and all those things. So I really just think that we need to get to the end of that sentence, to end of the rope to see what that looks like for our clients.
Yeah. It's so simple that it's complicated.
Hmm.
We forget at the end of the day that the better experience we give them, the more likely they are to be a lifetime client, to be an awesome referral partner. But exactly as you said, we get so inundated in the busy, in the doing, that we forget about massively serving them. And it doesn't have to be complicated.
Right.
Where do you suggest for the busy business owner that we even start?
So there's two busy business owners. So there's one who already has automation in place,
Mhm.
and there's one who thinks that they're so busy and they couldn't possibly take on a client and they need a virtual assistant, but really they just need to automate first. So obviously the first step for the person who has no systems is to put systems in place. Like let's just get going to where I always say, like, do you need a VA or do you need a system? Because it honestly, like, it's typically the system first. The person thinks
Yeah.
they need a virtual assistant, but they really don't. They might need it once they grow, but usually the ones that are panicking, like the house is on fire. Do you know the meme where the little dog is sitting in the house and it's on fire and it's like, it's fine. Everything's fine. That's
Yes.
what I feel like the person with no system looks like, like they're just like, oh, this is just how
Yeah.
business ownership is. And that's not true.
Right.
So my very first step would to just be write out what you want it to look like if in a perfect world, write out each step from inquiry to offboarding, how you would like to interact with each of your clients. And then for the people who already have the system in place, Now we're refining. We're going into our canned emails. We're going into, I call them value. Like, how are you showing value? For example, as a wedding photographer by trade, I send my brides a Starbucks gift code the morning of their wedding. And that's an automated message that goes to them. But for them, they're like, at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're getting an email from me. That's all automated. But to them, they're like, she's thinking of me already, and I'm not even going to see her until 1 o'clock. Like, and that makes, they talk to their bridesmaids, they talk to their cousins and their sisters and their friends. And that's when you start getting into the retention and the
Yes.
referrals. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You are speaking my love language. Having systems in place is so, so essential to a business owner. And a lot of times, exactly as you said, we're so frantic in doing all of the things that we think then that we need to hire someone, but we end up finding ourselves having more work. So when you have these workflows in place, written out of your head, this allows you to have that 30,000-foot view of what's actually going on. Because if you don't know what your processes are, you won't even be able to identify those opportunities
Right.
for improvement exactly as you explained it. And just those little things, like you described with the Starbucks gift card, how you go above and beyond, that means something. People remember that. And it
Yeah.
seems like such a trivial little thing. I do
Right.
something similar with clients. I always ask for their business birthday. I want to know when your business birthday is because guess what? You're getting a birthday present on your business birthday for your
Oh,
business.
I love
Like,
that. I'm like, let me
it's,
take a
yeah,
note.
absolutely. But it's just such a small little gesture that keeps you top of mind. And I think
Mhm.
we're always trying to think of these big, elaborate things.
Right.
It's the little things, I
Right.
think, that make the biggest impact.
Well, and I think that there's just ways too that they're cohesive with your back end and your client experience. So another example is you have affiliate links. Like
Yeah.
I have makeup artists, friends and clients who have relationships with hair extension companies and just beauty industry things, offering them your discount code. Like, it doesn't cost you anything. You actually get kickback from it. Like, take advantage of those things. Like, as an online business manager, obviously I have affiliate codes with Dubsado and Trello and these organizations that now I can share that with my clients and it costs me nothing. I actually get
Right.
paid to do that. And they feel so, they're like, oh, this is great. I get a discount. Like, it's so mutually beneficial that I think it's so easily overlooked as a way to pour into your clients.
Yeah. What other suggestions can you give? Just some ideas of how we can improve that overall client experience. So let's start with the onboarding process.
So for onboarding, I'm an over communicator. So when
Same.
I'm onboarding, I want to know all the things. Like we're talking about like how you like to spend your weekends. We're talking because my goal is to like what your pain points are, anything.
Yeah.
My goal is to get you back to the things that you love, right? So I'm going to continue on with the bride example. When I onboard a bride, you just want to make sure that they plan one wedding. You're in this industry all the time. So I have a little guide of like, for a perfect day for a wedding photographer, this is what it would look like. So as an online business manager, I do the same thing. So you can kind of replicate, it doesn't really matter what industry, because if you can solve the pain points from the jump, they're gonna see the value in you immediately. So if a client comes to me and they're like, I am just inundated with XYZ, I'm like, here's a freebie that I have. Like, start here. Let me know how this goes. And typically they're like, I don't have to pay for this. Like, you're giving me, and they feel like it's free. It's something I created months ago, if not
Yeah.
years ago. And it's so valuable to them and cost me nothing but my
Yeah.
time a month ago or whatever, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah,
Exactly. And it gives them that quick win because
right,
you're seeking to serve, not sell. So
right.
then you're still staying top of mind. You've given them that win. So that makes sense why then they'd be like almost bought into you
Right.
before they've even spent a dime. Because if she's willing to give me this for free, oh my gosh, I can't imagine what it would be like to actually be in her world and work with her.
Right, and I think that we've talked about this offline a little bit, but when you get into the social media of it all, and when you get into trying to weed through, I call it the smoke and mirrors. Like
Yes.
it's everything's a sales pitch.
Yep.
Everybody's selling, selling, selling. And imagine yourself going to buy something and somebody just like showing you their value. Like just this is what I can do for you. And I'm not going to charge you for like, and I'm not suggesting that you should work for free. Like, don't get me wrong, but there are things that you can do that are valuable to your clients that cost you nothing. And that can just really change the trajectory of how you're perceived in the market that you're in. And all of our markets are saturated, but there's space for everybody. But
Mhm.
the way you're going to differentiate yourself is to show your value pretty quickly and do it authentically.
Yeah, spot on. And really having that clear understanding of your ideal client. Okay, who are you best serving? Like, who are you the best fit for? And
Yeah.
use that information to create something that they need. What's step one in your process? Can you create something that will give them that quick win, give them that value? So now they're seeing, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Such awesome information, Cassie. What about during the client work? While you're working with a client, what are some opportunities for improving the client experience, but without working 24/7, without, sacrificing all boundaries and being at their beck and
Right.
call 24/7? Because that's kind of the paradigm a lot of business owners get in. They want to serve, they want to deliver, yet where does that boundary exist?
Okay. So automate, 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 first of
Yes.
all. And so that's my first thing is if you don't have an automated CRM, like you're behind,
Yeah.
period. And my second most like fruitful tip I think I could give anybody is to stop only emailing them when you want their money.
Yes. Thank you.
So, like, I want you to start sending them emails that are helpful to them. They don't have to have anything free, nothing. They are just value emails that you're like so in any industry, there's usually some type of cadence. So when a client gets to this point in the process, what are they typically thinking through? I want you to think about that milestone. And then a month before that, send them an email that's like, hey, this is about to come up for you because you can anticipate it because you do it all the time. So as you anticipate what they're about to run into, you're going to say, "Hey, I know this is coming up. Here are some tips." Or I'm just thinking about you. I'm here if you need me. Like you are sending them an email that's automated. You're not sitting behind your computer like beep boop on your
Right.
on your desktop, you're just automating that, you're setting it and you're forgetting it, but they don't know that. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, like she thought of me and she didn't want my money and she wasn't upselling me and she wasn't doing this." It was just like, this is how it's working and this is great. And I think so during just not only chasing the next dollar, I think is so important and nurturing them through their process.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Automate, automate, automate. I am such a fan of that because, yes, it's a little bit of work up front, but it saves you so much time and energy. And you do not need to be a tech guru in order to automate.
Right.
And I think that's a common misconception. We hear automate and we're like, but I'm not techie. That's a lot of work. I need to hire somebody to do that. No, you don't. It's your friend Google, your friend
Right.
YouTube. There's videos out there showing you how to automate anything. If you
Yeah,
have
that's true.
questions, like literally start by Googling it, see if there's an automation available.
And there's
And
so
then,
many free and affordable resources to
right.
DIY the process if you're not at the point to be able to hire out. So, like, definitely don't underestimate the power of like online freebies
Yeah.
and online, like you said, like YouTube channels. Like, if you have, if the only thing that you do have to give is your time, you can learn so much.
Exactly. You just have to be willing to learn. Yes,
Hmm.
it is a little investment of time, but it will save you time when you take the time
Absolutely.
intentionally to set these up. And then moving into how can we improve that a client experience after after the service has been provided, after the product has been purchased, how can we really improve that end game? Because I think this is where a lot of times as business owners we fall off.
And I will say that I am guilty of the fall off. So I have just recently revisited my own client experience and workflow because I think it is really important. And it's like this. I've been consuming a lot of information recently to just like tighten up. It's
Mhm.
halfway through the year. And
Yeah.
I realized that I was really lacking part of my offboarding because I send them like a thank you, ask for a review, but I wasn't nurturing them at all in the offboarding process. So I think the best place to start is to see what it's like, once you give them the product or the service, w- do they know how to use it? Can
Yeah.
you offer them more of these canned emails that say, maybe it's for 4 weeks post, offboarding, like, they think that their hands have been wiped clean and, like, they're done working with you. What if they got an email once a week that was like, "Hey, I know we just implemented X. Have you checked in on this?" Or like, "Have you watched this Loom video that I sent you to teach you how to use your own systems or, how to use this service?" And then the biggest thing I think for like in-person service things, so we're talking our hairstylist and our makeup artists and things like that, moving them over to your email list, like you said, their birthdays, touching base with them to be like, "Hey," or wedding photography, "I know your anniversary is coming up. You know, here's my tips on what outfits to wear for your first anniversary." Or like, "Here's," these are all things that you can use AI for and Google. And, they have the traditional and the untraditional anniversary gifts. So maybe you're sending them a guide that teaches them about that. Like, but just honestly, like, being thought of goes so far. Like, when somebody feels thought of, they're immediately going to say, "Hmm, like, I think I might tell my friend about her or my business partner," because they just feel nurtured, and that goes so far, especially in such a digital world.
It really does, because at the end of the day, we all just have the same core desires. We want to feel seen, we want to feel valued, we want to feel loved. And these little touch points really do make people feel that way, feel valued. Put yourself in their position. Like, how cool is it to get that little surprise and delight? I mean, it
Right.
makes your day. And
Mhm.
what do? Then you tell your friends, you share it out. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And it doesn't have to be anything extensive. But something that you said is like, you know what? I'm taking the time right now to revisit my own client, my own customer experiences. And that is such a crucial, crucial piece of the puzzle that as business owners, we need to be revisiting these. We need to be looking at our workflows. We need to be looking at our systems, our automations. That's what truly defines like our role as the CEO of our business, taking the time to treat our business like a business,
Right.
seeking out those opportunities for improvement. Because if we're just stuck in the mundane, doing all of the time, eventually there's going to be gaps. But if we
Yeah.
take these intentional pauses, we can really, really improve the client experience to increase our sales and increase our bottom line.
Right, and for me and a lot of my motivation and the motivation I go in for my clients is, what do they want out of their business? And I don't mean monetarily. Are you looking for freedom to travel? Are you looking for more time with your kids? Do you want to buy property? Like, why are we here? Because
Hmm.
as small business there's a reason we decided to go down the entrepreneurship rabbit hole. And there's a reason and motivation behind all of that. So by revisiting my systems, it's also opened up like, am I working towards the end game? Like you, and not just the end game with my clients, but the end game for myself. Like
Yeah.
I just treating yourself like your own client a little bit too, because you're an expert in your field. Like, what are you doing for yourself that you do for everybody else? Has been a big, kind of crack your mind open, and you're like, wow, like the things that are available to me and the things that I can offer to myself can also be like just as fulfilling and just as rewarding in the client experience because now you're set up to nurture everybody else and to do all
Right.
the other things.
Oh my gosh. This was amazing information, Cassie. Seriously, so many just nuggets of wisdom and things that we often overlook. So, if you're listening to this episode, go and implement. Take what you've learned Block time off on your schedule, review your own processes, and start to test different things. Fill those gaps to improve your customer experience. Because what will happen is those relationships, retentions, and referrals will deepen. And then you'll be able to have even more freedom within your business. Kassie, how can we get into your world and learn more about you and the amazing services that you offer?
So you can find me online on my website at Cassie Lane. That's KassieLayne.com. You can also find me on social at the same at Cassie Lane. And I'm also the co-founder of the Escape Conference. And we have a goal planning retreat, which is all there's a system audit involved in that. We're building everything out coming up in October. So
Amazing.
October 11th through the 14th.
Amazing. So go to her website, check that out, follow her on social media. Kassie, you are a wealth of information. Thank you so much for providing so much value to listeners today.
Thanks for having me. This was fun. I love talking about this.
Yes, me too. And until next time, cheers to making the money you want so you can create the impact you desire. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.